Hey, Dr. Minners here. Hey, let's talk about the activity 3-1. For chapter 3, you've got to do activity 3-1 or 3-2. Now, I've also added, that's lab 3. I've also added a lab 3A, which we'll talk about that in a minute, which is really activity 3-3. So activity 3-1 and 3-2, these are about creating the pseudocode for objects in an object-oriented programming environment. So let's look at a sample template of one that's not complete yet. You've got to figure out what you need to do. But you've got, this one's all about having a television, and you're going to define different aspects of the television, who makes it, the size, diagonal size, and you can read the chapter, the activity for it, and then the retail price. So you're going to declare a class, right, and that's the whole class. And then you're going to define, what we're doing is we're saying, here's what a TV looks like. It's going to have a manufacturer as type string or text, a diagonal size of numeric, a retail price of numeric. Then we're going to construct build the constructor method with 3 parameters. Now the 3 parameters are going to relate to the manufacturer. We call them different names here as a string, and they're separated by commas. Okay? So that's variable number 1, or parameter number 1. It's a string called manufacturer. That's variable number 2, called numeric diagonal size, and that's the price. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pass data to this. All right, we're going to pass data to this when we get to our method. This method is going to set the price. If you remember, if you look at it, they want you to actually create a set price method that includes the parameters for new price and then display info. Okay, so we built the constructor method, which is going to construct our object, and we're creating an object called the television, and it's got 3 variables: manufacturer, diagonal size, and price. These variables here are differently named than these here because this is what's going to do this is going to be kind of what we do, how we construct it. Now, method to set the price. So we're going to make a method implemented as in JavaScript as a function we saw in our account object discussion. And we're going to set the price. It's going to be numeric, and it's going to be called price. And we're going to set the retail price, which notice is the same thing as inside there. It's constructed as the variable called retail price, all right, which is defined up top. So these items here on the left side of the equation, manufacturer, diagonal size, and retail price, are the constants we're declaring, or the variables and the constants and or variables we're declaring. Inside my method, when I call it, they're going to be held into this variable called manufacturer for the first one, diag for the second one, and price for the third one. We've got a lot of variables that really they're just kind of conduits or doors or placeholders for something else. All right, so when we call this method, it's going to set the price to the new price, and then when we display the info, it's just going to display my manufacturer, concatenate that with the manufacturer name, and concatenate the display size with the size, screen diagonal in inches, and then the price. This does not do any calling of any methods or functioning. This is not actually put any data in there, just kind of building it. Now, I want you to do activity 3-1 or 3-2 for lab 3. Here's 3-2. Now, for lab 3A, you got to do 3-3, which may entail you coming back and doing one or more of these, maybe both of them. Just FYI. All right, so here's what the actual number 2 looks like. So this is really all of chapter 3. 3-1, 2, and 3, activity 3-1, 3-2, and 3-3 all rolled into one. So you're going to of course change your name up here to comment it appropriately. You know, not your author name or my name, your name. Now up until this point, let me close this for a minute. Up until that point, all right, I'm going to come back. If you notice a minute ago, it's still up here, we put these side by side. You can kind of see where activity 3-1 and 3-2 are really similar all up until that point. What makes it different? But what we're doing differently in 3.2 is we're actually going to instantiate or create our own class. We're going to create our object. We're going to create an object called MyTV. You could call it Goober. You could call it My Joe if your name is Joe. But wherever you call it MyTV or whatever you call it, you got to reference it that same name all the way throughout. I have a lot of students making mistakes because they say, "Ooh, I'll call it something here and then something here and a third thing there," and it goofs up. Now this code will not run, but it is logically, I can look at it and tell. It's not supposed to run, it's pseudocode. All right, so what are we doing down here? This is the start of the real program. This stuff up here just builds my objects class, my object, so to speak. All right. So we're going to say television. Now where have we seen that? By that constructor method below. This is where we're going to actually create the object, our new object called MyTV, using this as a template. It's going to be comprised of the manufacturer, diagonal size, and the price. So I'm going to say television, MyTV, whatever I call it, is equal to new television, and that's the three variables we're going to pass as parameters. See, they're separated by colons or commas. They're separated by commas on purpose because they're going to go into Sony as the manufacturer, 52 is the diagonal size, 52-inch screen, and 1200 is the numeric price. Boom. And so that's going to be going into this constructor method, and then so let's pick on the 52. Diagnostics is I keep saying diagnostics. Diagonal size is 52. Inside of here, diagonal size is equal to diag. It's called diag up here. We can call it whatever we want to. We can call it diag x. As long as we call it diag x right there. We can call this diagonal size, y. As long as we call it size y there. Okay? So whatever it is here, it's got to be the same name there. All right? So what we're going to do is when we call upon this, by creating this, it's going to take three parameters. We built them earlier, so it should fit, right? If I wanted to add a fourth one, like maybe the height or something, we could add a height, all right? Or the weight. We could add a fifth one as a weight, but we'd have to have a separate item up here and pass and give it two more things. So for every property we want to have for the object, we're going to have a corresponding number of items we give to it, pass to it, and these are going to be in the parentheses, and we're going to also, and that's just building it down here, we're going to call upon that. So if I got 15 things up here, something, comma, something, comma, something, 15 of them, I got to give it 15 things down here to make it work accordingly. All right? So 52 is going to go in as diag, and then internally it's going to say diagonal size. We're going to get rid of those y's and x's now. Diagonal size is equal to diag, which was 52. And that's linked back up here to the class. Boom. All right? And then we're going to display the info, and it's going to call upon this method, display info, which says, all right, display the manufacturer. We're using the amounts when we display them that were in this section, in the declaration section of the class, outside of the constructor method. See what it says manufacturer? Well, down here we call it manufact, F-A-C, internally. So now we call it manufacturer, this guy, diagonal size, this guy, retail price, this guy. Now, when I call this, Sony 52 and 12.99 are going to go in as manufact, diag, and price respectively. Then internally they're going to be set to manufacturer, diagonal size, and retail price, which go into that. And then they're going to be displayed right down in here. And then now I'm going to set my price. What's this one? So that's the display. So we created it. We displayed it. Notice mytv.displayInfo. And then we're going to go down here in mytv.setPrice. Set price is my method I called upon up there. It must be the same name. If you call it set price 7, you need to call it set price 7 down there. Okay, but we're not going to do that. Notice it's going to be numeric of type price. And the retail price, which is the dude up here, outside of the constructor method, but in my declaration statements for the class, is going to be set to the price that we give to it. Boom! We're done with that pseudocode. Now, real quickly, looking at the 3-3, which is the real code. Now you may have to make some modifications to this. This is 3-3, which is setting the price and letting it run. And so, a couple things here. I've got television class, that's constructing it. So there's my data. One thing is, this right here actually does the linking. You'll see in the book where it says linking the methods to the class. So we got to do this.manufacturer, so it's this current one. I'm going to go down here. Similarly, I'm kind of modified it a little bit. I'm setting my price. Function set price P. We're going to parse float it. Probably not required, but this is what is required. This.retail price, which is this dude up here, is equal to that P. So when I call the function down here for setting the price, my set price 9999, it's going to go right up here. Right? Watch now. So this is really doing nothing up here but setting everything up. That's not running anything yet. It's building it. From there up, all of this is just kind of building it. So you got that section which is needed before you start to run it. This is what's really starting to run right down in here. We're going to create my class. My var my TV equals equal to new of type television. Television has 3 variables, just like we saw in the pseudocode. Boom, boom, boom. Right? This is the real code, real thing now. And then I'm going to go down here and display it. Boom, my display is a little fancy. I put a document right, 3 little thingies, and a page break, paragraph break, so you could see how the paragraph break gives you an extra line in there. And then we're going to display my variables. My TV.manufacturer, my TV.diagonal size, my TV.retail price.toFix, which we saw in an earlier assignment. Puts it in earlier lecture. It puts it into 2 decimal places. Cool. So once we initialize it, we're going to then turn around and display it, which is calling upon that function. Notice functions can be reused multiple times. Then we're going to set just the price. We're going to display it again. So then what's going to happen is we're going to go run it. It's going to look like this. Going to press F5, run it. So I would write that, save it as that text, okay, and then save it as .html. Type in .html. Boom. All right. Then I would go run it, and as I run it, I'm going to run it again. View. Oh, hold up. Actually, it just did run, but I'm going to go double run it again over here. Hang on 1 second. Let's go run it. It put it in another area. Pause for a second. Sit tight. Allow block content. That's okay. You may hear that's normal. It doesn't. So I don't see this on Firefox or Chrome, but you know. Then boom! Look, it ran it. Let's look at the code a little bit. Let's kind of peek at it for a minute. All right. It says if you look at it, there's my little guy here. There he is. There. One BR is a page break, line break. Then the PA is a paragraph. So you got an extra line between the stars and the manufacturer. This is manufacturer. That's the Sony that was passed to it. That's the 52 and the 1299. Boom! We're so smart. By the way, that retail price is document right there. There's that dollar symbol is just part of what's in quotes literally displayed. Then I print another one of those and then a thank you. And now I'm going to call the set price. Boom! It sets the price. Display the info after that. Now setting the price in here, I'm going to go ahead and set it. And inside that function, document right, and put some dollar signs around it, make it stand out, say new price is this dot retail price, boom, and then turn around. What's cool is I can call display info again with the new data. Boom, bam, pow. Take care.